Welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse, and tonight I'd like to welcome Michael Ladano to the show. Tonight we're going to take a look at the darkness, specifically those spin-off projects, Hot Leg, Stone Gods. We're going to take a look at those two albums, and I know Mr. Ladano has brought a lot with him tonight, so we're just going to have a general discussion, just kind of see where it goes. So without any further ado, let's get started.
Throw those horns up. It's time for Grant's Rock Warehouse.
All right, and here we are. Well, it is time for... Oh, well, that's okay. You were into it because you knew who that was. And you were rocking.
I was rocking hard behind the scenes here, yes.
So, yes, here we go. Michael's back, and tonight... Well, first of all, welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse. I want to welcome Michael Ladano back to the show. We haven't seen Michael here for a while, but I think, what was the last thing? We did do a darkness show.
We did, Neurotic Outsiders was the last one we did.
That was the last thing, but that was like a... Well,
it was a while ago. I think it was in March.
Oh my God, and we're in July.
We're in July.
Well, it's been too long, Michael. I'm just going to say. But tonight, we are going to look at the darkness. Not really the darkness, but the spin-off projects from the darkness. And there have been several. Oh, God, look at all. See, I don't know if I can compete. I don't know if I can compete.
No, there's no competition, Grant. Remember last time last time we did the darkness, you had a CD I didn't have. And I ended up getting it thanks to you, the double live.
Well, right. So now you're even more complete.
Yeah, but I'm missing a lot of Hot Leg. I was doing some Wikipediaing. I guess that's a verb. I was doing that earlier, and I'm missing a number of B-sides. I think there are 6 altogether, and I have 3 of the 6.
You know what? I feel, well, I haven't even looked into it that far, but I'm going to tell you here. Today, Michael and I, we're going to look at these.
We are.
Because really how this all started, it was that, Justin Hawkins quit. He quit the darkness back in what year was it?
I would say 2005.
2005.
It was right after the album, One Way Ticket to Hell and Back.
Which, okay, we're going to go on a tangent for a moment. I bought that. Okay, I was big into the darkness when that first album came out. I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
I still do. And in fact, were you aware of the whole deluxe edition that's coming out here?
I failed to pre-order it on Amazon Prime Day, but I am aware of it, yes.
Yeah, well, I pre-ordered it all. I think I went through Rhino and did it.
Okay.
But anyway, it's like 4 CDs and a DVD.
2 live albums.
Yeah. Well, I can't help it because I love that record.
Yep. It's the foundation.
And then when the Hell album came out,
mm-hmm.
I was like going,
mm-hmm.
But you know what now? I listen to it now and I'm going, fucking hey, that's a
played it today, my
great
friend.
record.
Played it today and loved every second of
now,
both times I played it today.
You know, on this show, we try to keep it loose. We're doing a general discussion.
Yes.
So we can talk about that record real quick.
It's
Take
important
it the hell
because
up. Why did you went back in the day? Let me throw it out there.
Yeah.
Did you listen to it and go, oh?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes, it was too polished compared to the first album, and things like the weird keyboard solos were kind of threw me a little bit. Girlfriend was a little bit out there, but like you said,
Roy Thomas Baker,
RTB.
It should be a match made in heaven based on the whole, Justin and Dan
there
Love.
Were problems, Grant, and the problems were in here. They were drugged out and the indulgence. It's one of those drug albums. It sounds like a drug album. It sounds like let's do everything we freaking can.
Throw in the kitchen sink.
Like Oasis have a record like that called "Be Here Now," and
I know.
Yeah. To me, it sounds like one of those Coke albums to me. But it's important because it leads into Hot Leg. There's definitely connective tissue between those two. Not the Stone Gods at all. There's no connective tissue there at all musically. But with Hot Leg, definitely Hot Leg sounds like the next Darkness album after One Way Ticket. It sounds like Justin saying, okay, mate, so, we want to keep some of that 80s stuff, but we also want to take it back to the first album, That was a terrible accent.
No, but you know what? I was totally thinking that when I listened to it again today, and I even hate to even say this, but I almost look at the Hot Leg album as the true follow-up to the first album. And I know that might be a sin to some fans, but the Hot Leg album is so strong, but it's also the closest to the Darkness at that point.
Yes.
Maybe not with a Ticket to Hell and Back. I don't want to... That still sounds like the Darkness. How do I want to say it?
To me, Grant, it sounds like what you said, the follow-up to the first album. It sounds like the album that came between the first two. It sounds like a hybrid. It sounds like a step between the two.
Because the songwriting on the Hot Leg record, now, come on, you've got Justin Hawkins. Let's be honest, he's the major draw here.
For sure.
His vocals, his guitar part. In fact, it's funny when you listen to the Hot Leg album, you know exactly when Justin's playing a guitar part, and when the other guy's playing a guitar part.
Yeah.
And Justin's stamp is so strong. I mean, no, it doesn't sound like the Darkness because you don't have Dan, you don't have the rest of the band.
It's close. It's close. I since you mentioned the guitar thing, I just wanted to point out something real quick because I was looking at my album before we went live. Here's the credits: Justin Dave Hawkins. I don't know why. Lead singing, lead guitar, lead synthesizer. Right. Pete Ainaldi, lead guitar, lead background vocals. Samuel S.J. Stokes, lead bass, lead background vocals, and Darby Todd on lead drums.
And lead drums.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
But I must say, though, you look at this record and you listen to it, the band that Justin has put together for this. Oh, you've got the hype sticker on yours.
Yes.
I got mine used. Did you get that new?
I did. I paid almost $40 for it to get it in Canada.
Oh,
ridiculous.
Oh.
Actually, same with the Stone Gods. Both of them were imports. I couldn't get them domestically.
Well, I think mine were imports too. I got them off Discogs later. But shit, now I forgot what I was going to say.
I have that effect on people.
We were on a tangent.
You will go on a tangent.
Help me, Michael. What was I saying?
I don't remember.
Oh, for goodness
sake. We were on Hot Leg. It's something about the band. And
okay, I know what I was going to say. But if you listen to the Hot Leg CD, which I highly recommend, if you like any of the Darkness material, if you can even find this, good luck.
Out of print. On a very small...
And a small label. And if you can get it, good luck. But I highly recommend it. A great record. I know we're supposed to talk. How are we going to do this? We're just going to be gloating.
Why don't we start by talking about the Hot Leg record? When we've exhausted that, we'll move over to the Stone Gods.
All right. I'm going to throw it over to you.
Okay. Well, I will say this, Grant. I will preface it. Hey, Ernesto, how are you doing?
There he is.
I will preface it by saying, and I hope you're cool with this. I'm more of a Stone Gods guy. But having said that, I acknowledge that this is the one that sounds more like the Dark. The other one doesn't sound like the Darkness at all.
The Stone Gods sounds like a lot of different things.
Yes, it does. This sounds like the Darkness, and because of Justin, his lead vocals, and his lead guitar.
Right.
I think there are two songs on here in particular that take the Darkness sound and crank it up to 11.
Okay.
One would be the lead track, Chickens, which is just absolutely ridiculous. The chorus is ridiculous. It's so high and fast and stuttery. I can't even repeat it. Cocktails, I will attempt to repeat, but it's ridiculous as well. It goes, cocktails. Like he turns one word into about 15 syllables,
It's like Justin got out of the Darkness and turned it up to 11.
Yes, I think he did that intentionally. I can't remember which of these albums came first, but I got Stone Gods first.
Stone Gods came first. That was 2008, and that came out in 2009.
Okay. I think, intentionally he's like, here's the darkness. You wanted the darkness. Here we are. This is me.
Well,
And there's so many good songs on here too. Like Prima Donna was good. My favorite song on here is called Whichever Way You Want to Give It, which to me sounds like one of those darkness anthems, like a darkness single. One of those ones that it's an earworm. I thought I've Met Jesus was a pretty cool guitar, great guitar on that.
Yeah, I love that one.
Trojan Guitar is a great song. You Can't Hurt Me Anymore. Great darkness sounding song. And really the only one I don't like on here is Gay in the 80s. It's the only
I don't mind Gay in the 80s either. I love the whole thing.
It's the only one I'm not into though.
Right.
It's I don't know. I can't get into it.
I give this whole thing, you know what I just noticed on the back cover?
Yeah.
You've got Hot Leg. Okay, it's not a very good cover. Let's give you that.
No.
But if you look back, it harkens back to that whole spaceship.
Yeah, the space motif. Yeah. There's spaceships there flying. Yeah, it's like a Mos Eisley spaceport kind of deal. Yeah, you're right. Good observation.
Yeah, well, the first album I definitely give a 5 out of 5, and I would definitely give this. I don't think this is as strong as the first. Well, it's damn near. I guess I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5. I don't know.
I'm gonna go 4 myself. I will point out though, for a band called Hot Leg, you can't see her legs. You can see her butt, but you can't see her legs. So that's a fail.
I mean, no offense to Justin or anybody, but album artwork's a little bit questionable.
Justin wants to be Freddie Mercury so bad it hurts, but I'll give him credit, says Ernesto.
Nothing wrong with that.
Here's a picture of the band, by the way.
Ernesto. Yeah, there they are.
They were definitely going for an 80s look, more so than the darkness, I think.
But I think this record sounds, if you listen to this compared to the first record, this I think has much more of an 80s feel to it.
Than the first record, yes. Than the second record, no. I don't think so. That's why I say it sounds like an evolutionary step between the two, even though it's not. I think Justin wanted to incorporate some of the stuff that he did on the second album, but get back to the roots a bit, please the old school Darkness fans. Because if you listen to this, which isn't really on the docket for tonight, but this is a one-off that he did called British Whale.
There you go. Bring
very
it up.
80s.
No, that's totally on the docket. I don't.
Oh, it is
have
okay.
That, so feel free to bring that up.
This came in between the first two Darkness albums, as I recall. 2 tracks, a cover of Sparks, which you can see right there. Cover of Sparks, This Town Ain't Big Enough for the Both of Us. And an original called America. Both of which are very 80s. Very, very 80s. And it very much indicated where the Darkness were going to go on that second album. This is 2005, so it must have been just before the second album. I don't know the man's name, but that's a darts player, a British darts player with Justin on the front cover.
So let me ask you this. That's the only thing that he put out?
As British Whale, as far as I know, yeah.
Yeah. See, I've never heard that.
Well,
you know,
being
kids,
a Sparks fan,
if anybody follows anything on this show, you know I'm going to spend some money. You can't help it. I just can't help it.
Grant, every time I've been on with you, I have spent money.
Right.
It was the Darkness Double Live one time. It was the Neurotic Outsiders reissue another time. I'm sure it'll happen here too. I'll probably end up ordering a single or an EP or something.
Well, maybe you might. If you can find them, that's the thing.
That is the thing. Like I said, the Stone Gods, Hot Leg.
Hot Leg.
We're on
Hot Leg.
Hot Leg did put out a couple of singles on the Discogs. Yeah, Chris Sarr's right. I love spending money, as you can see.
Well, I don't love spending money, but I like new stuff.
I like the results of it.
I like the results.
These guys did a couple of singles. I'm missing a few of them, but I did manage to get this one here. This is Cocktails, promo only, not for sale, and it has a non-album track called "All I Gotta Do." Words and music by Daniel Bolton. Don't know who.
Michael. That's Michael's brother.
Is it really?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
I thought you knew something there.
I'm just no.
But this is what it looks like. And worth getting for that All I Gotta Do track, definitely. But they also had available on their website for a limited time only 2 download only tracks. Heroes and Take. And let me tell you, Take is a great tune. Great tune. You would love it, Grant. You would absolutely love it.
Oh, okay.
So those 2 tracks, I highly doubt there's a Hot Leg website to download them from anymore.
No.
So you're out of luck.
I'm just surprised that nothing's really ever mentioned. I don't know. I follow Justin on his channel, but it just seems like nothing's ever really talked about with this record anymore.
2 possible reasons and
Why is
conjecture
that?
only. Drug blackout would be one, and maybe sore spot with the band dynamics could be another.
Well, yeah, I probably agree because you don't hear anything about the Stone Gods either.
No, you don't. And they did record a second album that's never been issued. So there's a whole album out there that they're sitting on. So I'm thinking there might be some sore stuffs there, but you never know. I mean, things can thaw in the future too.
Right. So I'm wondering, because the Stone Gods came out in 2008 and then Hot Leg came out in 2009. Do you think Hot Leg was a response to what Dan was doing with the other band, or?
Okay. I think so.
Do you know any story about that?
No, I don't. I think so in a sense, but I also think it came out exactly the way Justin would have done it with whether there was a Stone Gods or not. But I do sense sort of an attitude of, if you wanted the darkness, this is you came to the right place.
Well, I have to agree.
But I also don't know too much about what was going on between the brothers at that time. I have no idea. It's always interesting to think about brotherly dynamics in a band. I imagine Christmas at the Gallagher house in England is fun when it comes to Oasis. But, everything seems to have been fine now since the Hotcakes album, which is what, 2012-ish, 2013. And, they've been on a serious roll since then, as we've talked about in the past. And, aside from this period of time, the Darkness have been a solid force for the last 20 years, aside from this period of time where they just weren't talking or something like that. I don't know.
I think it was the drugs.
I think it was the drugs.
they got some, they got some, I don't want to say exposure, but some success. And, some of these people just can't handle it.
Success and the problematic second album. Classic setup for trouble in a band. Look at how many bands have had that, but definitely drugs. I mean, Justin was very open about his cocaine use on the second Darkness album. I mean, that only ends one way, it ends with a train wreck. And it's interesting that the way the split happened, it was one guy goes and the other 3 guys stay together. So that's also interesting as well when that happens.
Because what was it? Let's see. Bass player Frankie quit, right?
Frankie quit after the first record.
Yeah, because it was probably just too much.
And they brought in.
I can only imagine what was going on.
Well, he has a book out. I'd like to check out his book.
Bass, right?
Yeah, and I believe he was a roadie or a tech.
Holy crap! And I want to just mention the vocals on the Stone Gods. Richie is like, I like Justin. I mean, if we're talking,
they're different guys.
These Darkness, 2 guys are you got to have Justin sing. You couldn't have Richie sing in the Darkness. No. But holy crap, Richie is like a tour de force.
I think he's like if I had to compare him to somebody, maybe a Halford, but a little bit more screamy, a little bit more raspy.
You know what I was thinking? There's a track on here. I'm trying to remember which one it was. I'm looking at it.
So many. No, Burn the Witch.
This is what I kept thinking. I kept thinking Alcatraz, Disturbing the Peace.
Oh yeah, there is some Graham there. Yeah,
there's a lot of Graham. Yeah. And I thought it was more in that era when Steve Vai was playing guitar. That's what I heard immediately. But not on Burn the Witch. The opening track is Burn the Witch, but I didn't hear it on that. I think it was like I should have wrote it down. I think it was like Defend or Die or Don't Drink the Water, but I thought, oh my God.
I think Defend or Die was the opening riff that you opened the show with, I think.
Yeah, but I kept thinking, this is Alcatraz.
You're right. I didn't piece that together, but he has a very kind of bonnet delivery, doesn't he?
But he's also kind of chameleon-like. It's not...
Soft songs like Lazy Bones or Magdalene Street.
There was... Magdalene Street sounds like Jellyfish to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, you hear Burn the Witch, which is heavy. The riffs, I mean, you've almost gone to that.
It's metal. It's metal.
But then Madeline Street is Jellyfish. They just totally morph across different genres. Where Hot Leg, if you think it's the darkness.
It's that genre.
Right.
A lot of banging riffs, really good, solid banging riffs. A lot of great solos, a lot of good lead vocals and catchy and also bizarre lead vocal hooks.
Right.
Hot Light has the strangeness that the darkness had, but the Stone Gods has none of. But there is a lot of strangeness, like obviously Chickens.
Well, it's the opening track. I think it's one of the highlight tracks.
It is a highlight track,
whether it's
but
called
it's bizarre.
Chickens or not.
But that chorus, man. Chickens. Whoa!
Well,
that is like
Justin doing his thing.
But you can't call that quote unquote normal. I mean, it is out there, man. That is out there. You're not going to hear that on another band's album. Not even Queen.
No, it's like the first Darkness album, jacked up a bit.
Jacked up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, jacked up. Like, hey, you thought that I was ridiculous? Check out this song that I wrote about chickens.
Right. But I mean, if you like that first Darkness record, and of course the songwriting, the production,
get this.
The whole, you would want to try to find Hot Leg because it's right up there.
Yes. And you know what? Don't just take it from us. Take it from Kerrang! Magazine. An album that leaps about in spandex, gets more camp than the average scout leader, and spits out in rapid fire succession some shout out loud great anthems. That's Kerrang! Magazine. That's not me saying that.
Right.
I will say though, I'm a logo guy, and that logo doesn't do anything for me.
That's a bad logo. I don't know who did that.
Yeah, I know.
What? Oh, yeah. Not good.
No.
Stone God's cover, I think's better. It's classier.
Grant, I was going to be critical of this too because it kind of disappears in my collection.
Well, I had to look for it today. Well, it doesn't stand out.
No, it doesn't.
I would say it's a little bit more classy, but it's not. I mean, look at it. All right.
The Stone Gods cover looks like what it sounds like.
These are all independent releases. These guys are using who they can to do this. It's not like they have any backing by the record company or the art department from the record companies.
Zilch. This is like public domain stuff or something they got from a guy.
Right. I don't know where they got it, but
no.
Hot Leg could use some work, and the Stone Gods could too. But the Stone Gods. Well, first of all, let's do this real quick. What would you rate? What would you rate the first album, and what would you rate Ticket to Hell?
Okay,
out of 10, just and then put Hot Leg in perspective with those.
Okay, I'm going to state for the record that I've already reviewed all these albums, but I have no idea what I rated them.
Well, don't forget, Mike. Things could change over time.
Things can change. I'm not going to give the first album a solid 10 out of 10.
Oh God!
Because I think
brilliant.
I think there are a couple tunes that I might have swapped out for other tunes. B-sides.
Like some of the B-sides from that era.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would give
Before
it like a solid...
do that, let me say that I don't mean to interrupt, but we're just shooting the shit.
Yep.
I would say a lot like The Cure, where a lot of their B-sides should have been on the record, and they should have pulled something off the main album and had the B-side on there. I would say the Darkness and their B-sides could have been on the record. They're so strong.
Most of them, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not every, some of them are throwaways.
Some of them are B-sides. Some of them are B-sides. That's just how it goes.
Okay. Anyway, sorry, but I just want to put that
I'm going to say 9.5. 9.5. Am I
I'm going
10
because I think there's nothing that I would ever take off of it. I think it's great.
Okay. Third album?
Yes.
Sorry, second album?
Second album.
8.5.
I have to agree.
Okay. And then I would give Hot Leg also an 8.5. But Grant, my friend, Stone Gods?
Yes.
9.5.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay. So what happened was...
Go ahead.
The three guys, they split off from Justin. And I think there were rumors in the press that they were going to continue as the Darkness, but obviously that didn't happen.
Right. I think what I understood was once Justin said, "Hey, I'm done. I quit." Dan talked the rest of the members like within an hour and said, "Hey, you guys want to keep going?"
And they did. And Richie Edwards, the bassist, revealed that he's an amazing voice, although not suited to the darkness. And good thing that they changed their name instead of pulling a Motley Crue.
It's not Darkness. No,
it's not at all. They clearly turned up the metal. They clearly decided on a metal direction. Mm-hmm. They got a new bass player named Toby McFarlane because Richie Edwards switched over to guitar, which was interesting. So
but Dan still was playing lead though.
Dan was still playing lead, but they, two guitar bands, both of these guys, Hot Leg and Stone Gods, they both went with two guitar directions on their, their spin-off projects. Interestingly enough, Eddie Graham was the drummer, and you can tell because on this album, so many of he's got this one signature fill. Boom, 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 boom. That's all over this album. But interestingly enough, he didn't last. And midway through, they got in Robin Goodridge from Bush, who's also a killer drummer. He's the one that kind of looked like Gavin, but wasn't Gavin. He had the same hair as Gavin. And I was psyched when they got him on drums. I'm like, wow, yeah, that's a powerhouse drummer.
I guess, when did that, so that took place when they were recording, or this came after?
I think mid-tour, because he's in some of the music videos. He didn't play in the album, but he's in some of the music videos.
But Ed's on the whole record.
Ed's on the whole record. And you can tell he's got writing credits all over the record, too. And I know we talked about Ed Graham on your previous show about Darkness, but I can't remember what the deal is, why he's had these issues and, left both Stone Gods and the Darkness later on.
Well, I don't know. I think it could have been that partying lifestyle. I don't think the road was...
He kind of looks like he might have been a partier, but hey, who am I to judge? But he's got a signature sound. Now he's not a technical drummer by any stretch. He is a straight 4-on-the-floor pounder, but he has a style that I like, and it suits this band. Both bands, Darkness and Stone Gods. Still, Robin Goodridge, not a bad choice. I just wish that we got to hear that second album that they wrote and recorded.
Now, when did they record that? Do you know offhand?
Not offhand, but it was prior to Hotcakes. I would say 2011.
Yeah. Same lineup?
Yeah, with Robin on drums. But otherwise, Toby was there, Richie.
Well, maybe it'll come out. I don't know.
I hope.
Are there any bootlegs out? Do you know?
Oh, probably. I'm sure you can buy knockoffs and things like that. I would have liked to have heard the Stone Gods live. And I would have liked to have heard them if they put any Darkness material in their set. I would have liked to have heard what song they chose and how Richie delivered it. I would imagine they would have had to play at least one Darkness song, but I don't know. I don't know these details. It was such a short-lived band. I don't think they never made it over to this side of the Atlantic Ocean.
No.
Although, ironically, the mixer on this album is a Canadian guy who has been on my former show when I had the LeBrain train. I had the gentleman on twice, Mr. Mike Fraser, who mixed like every AC/DC album from the Razor's Edge on. Mike Fraser on 100 album credits. I guarantee you own albums with his name on it. He was my guest twice on the LeBrain train, which was great fun. But he mixed this album, and I got to ask him a little bit about it. Now, that was 3 years ago, so don't ask me what he said.
But it's down there in the link. Just go ahead and check it out.
That's right. Just go to my YouTube. You look up Mike Fraser. He's there. Actually, the second time we had him on with Andy Curran from Coney Hatch, and they talked to each other. Really? It was really cool.
Did he do mixing for Coney Hatch or anybody like that?
No, but he's buddies with those guys. He's one of those guys that knows everybody. But he mixed this, and it sounds bloody great, let me tell you.
It does sound great.
I don't know if there's any pictures of the band in here.
Yeah, there is.
There we go.
Right here in the middle.
Yeah. So Dan Hawkins.
We're almost Darkness. We're almost there.
They were, basically one half of the original lineup of the Darkness and 3/4 of the second. But
right.
I was really rooting for these guys. I remember when it came out, my wife said to me, the name Stone Gods, it just doesn't have the same appeal as the Darkness. And I don't know. I didn't agree with her, but maybe she was onto something. I was rooting for these guys. I even started like a Facebook page for these guys. Oh, speaking of which, this is so funny. On the back, you can't read it, but MySpace. That's how old this is. MySpace. I don't know.
Yeah. It's 2008. What are you going to do?
And I don't know what happened to Richie Edwards after this. Talented singer. What happened to him? I don't know. I
have no idea.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
Damn it, Michael, I'm looking for you for the answers.
It's so hard to find out information about these guys. And I'm not seeing the comment section flooding with answers either. So
I don't think the Darkness or the spin-off projects is a big draw, but
it's
here
a
on
niche
Grant's
thing.
Rock Warehouse, it's a whole niche thing here anyway, because we want to talk about these bands or these artists that no one talks about. And no one is talking about Hot Leg or the Stone Gods at all.
Not even the bands are talking about this. And this is a shame. We need to shine a spotlight on these bands. Mm-hmm. When I first heard this, I had a buddy that worked at Kerrang! Magazine, Dan Slesser. And Dan sent me a burned copy. And unfortunately, it got all hacked up in the mail.
Oh.
But I'm like, I listened to like the first 2 tracks, Burn the Witch and Don't Drink the Water, before it started skipping all over the place. And I was like, okay, I'm ordering a copy as soon as I can get it. And like I said, I had to pay through the teeth to get it. Stupid import. But man, it was like, is this ever worth it? I'm looking at the track list here, and there's not a single song in here that I skip.
No.
There's really, really heavy stuff like the aforementioned Defender Die, which is just chugging heavy. And then you have the one Magdalene Street that we talked about earlier as well.
It's Jellyfish, pretty much.
Jellyfish. Then there's Lazy Bones, which is really soft and gentle.
Mm-hmm.
But the songs that I like best are what I'm going to call the darknessy anthems. And there's a few of them on here. Where You Coming From? Great chorus, extremely melodic, memorable. Start of Something is killer. It sounds like Def Leppard, I think.
Oh my God. I was totally correct. Totally correct. There's a lot of different influences on here.
Definitely Leppard. There's definitely Leppard on that, and probably Wasting Time as well. Mm-hmm. And then they close it on this kind of drinking song, this weird drinking song called Oh Where Oh My Beero. Wow. And it's great. It's like a total drinking song with a stomp. Like you can picture guys in a bar just stomping along to that song.
Right.
Clapping and stomping, This is a remarkable album. I know that you're a Hot Leg guy compared to me being a Stone Gods guy, but this is it, man. Like I swear, I listened to this 3 times today, and then I listened to a bunch of the other tracks probably 6 or 7 more times before we went live.
Well, Mike, you're hardcore.
I'm hardcore.
I like the Stone Gods, don't get me wrong, but
But I think we both have a preference, and I think this is becoming evident as we go.
I have nothing. The thing about Hot Leg and the Darkness is that it's heavy, but then there's those pop sensibilities, the hooks. Mm-hmm. It can be
the keyboards.
Yeah. Oh, the thing on Hot Leg, there are keyboards on here.
Yeah.
Good point. There's not really any keyboards on the Darkness.
If there
maybe on the later stuff. I'm just talking everything up into this time.
Yeah, that first album really is raw. The first Darkness album is raw. They didn't spend too much time polishing.
No. Well, that's the beauty of it, though.
Yeah, and we're going to get demos and stuff when we get that box set.
I know. I've already got it on order.
I know you're psyched. I can't remember what all's on there, but I think
you're
going to get
my wife about it. She's not watching, though, but don't tell her.
I think we're going to get, and I'm just, again, speculating here, a complete set of B-sides from the era, I think. A bunch of demos and 2 live albums and a DVD. I think there's a DVD in there, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've wanted a Darkness live DVD. I hope there's some live stuff on there.
Oh, yeah, it's a live DVD. The thing is, though, in US dollars, it was $70 with shipping.
Is that CD then? The vinyl would be way more.
I'm not buying it. Screw the vinyl. I'm buying the CD.
We could get into this, but
that's a whole other discussion.
Not just for money, but I prefer CD for convenience. And
I
other reasons.
I have a lot of vinyl, and I've talked about this on my show before. In the 90s, I bought vinyl like you wouldn't believe because
Yeah.
people were giving it away.
10 cents a record in some of the shops that I went into.
Well, now they're giving CDs practically away.
Yeah.
So I buy that. This is the way I've told everybody on my show. Who cares about the medium? We could get into this whole thing where vinyl's warm and all that bullshit. That's fine and dandy. A lot of it has to do with your system and your stylus and all that.
Oh yeah, big time, big time.
Okay, you know, if vinyl sounds like shit, it's shit. Only so much you can do. And CD can be.
I have a lot of
terrible
shitty sounding
too.
CDs. Yeah.
Of course, a lot of the later stuff are crap because it's the brick wall thing.
Yeah.
But
100%,
back
100%.
when The Darkness came out, those CDs sound pretty damn good.
I will say this though, Grant. And this is what's important. This is way important compared to which you prefer, vinyl.
Yeah,
or
it
CD
doesn't
or
really
cassette.
matter.
This
It's
is
all
what
about
matters,
the
Grant.
music. All about the music.
The important thing is getting it physically, because stuff like this doesn't exist anymore. You can't get it.
You keep throwing that
You know?
out. I keep
I know.
seeing you throw that out.
But it's important to get a physical copy because you never know when something like this is going to disappear. Like all you Spotify nuts.
Well, Ernesto, you're right. Well, they're a lot cheaper.
Especially in Canada when the shipping is ridiculous in Canada.
CDs
on
are
vinyl.
probably cheaper than 8 tracks.
They are definitely cheaper than 8 tracks. I would buy a Darkness 8-track.
Well, don't forget, Hot Leg never came out on vinyl, and I don't think Stone Gods ever. I think that was all CD.
If
Might
they did, it
might
would
be able to stream it.
You know what, Grant? Why don't we do this?
Okay.
Why don't we go on to
If
La Discogs?
We only had a way to look it up. You know.
Okay. Discogs, Stone Gods. There we go. Silver Spoons, Broken Bones, 4 versions. There was vinyl in the UK.
All right.
And yeah, it looks like just the UK.
Of course.
And they did 4 singles off this. Don't Drink the Water, Burn the Witch, Night of the Living Dead, and Start of Something. And these most of them have non-album B-sides, which I don't have any of these.
I don't either.
They're not necessarily cheap. Let me see. Don't Drink the Water, which has 2 live tracks, Making It Hard and Night of the Living Dead. $20 for a 3-song single.
Look, we're causing John to spend money.
Hey, Snowman, how you doing?
There he
Good
is.
for you, John. Good for you. John's another believer.
John, I need to get you back on the channel. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I keep saying that, but then I forget. You've got to email me and go, hey, Grant, why don't we do something? Because I'm juggling 2 channels, so it's hard for me to keep it together. But
I can tell you the Snowman is an expert on Jeff Scott Soto. So if you ever do anything to do with anything Jeff Scott Soto has ever been involved with, Snowman's the guy.
I'll be darned. All right. I'll make a note of that.
Yeah.
Jeff Scott Soto. All right.
Yeah.
There must be a call for that somewhere in the universe.
Well, I mean, Snowman's reviewed, close to 100 of his albums, something like that. Different projects that he's been involved with, from Yngwie Malmsteen to the present.
Right.
Actually, before Yngwie. I believe he even had stuff that he reviewed from before Yngwie. But that's neither here nor there. Snowman.
No, but we're on another tangent.
But
yes, that's what we do all the time.
So Stone God. So there's 2 live tracks on the Don't Drink the Water single. Then we have the Burn the Witch single, which has 2 tracks we don't have, Grant. Breakdown and Heartburn.
How much
this
are
one's
those?
affordable. This one's $15. I might order that.
And it's all in the UK? Or is there
that I didn't check. I'm not
any
digging
Canadian
that deep.
ones? There we go. John says he'll think of something.
Okay,
John,
there you go.
This is a task that I'm giving you. I need you back on the show because we had such a great time the last time. You need to think of something.
And he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
Now here's the interesting one, Grant. This is the one that I'm going to call the Holy Grail. It's the Start of Something single. No copies available on Discogs right now. 3 acoustic tracks. Don't Drink the Water, Where Are You Coming From, and one that we've never heard of called Things Could Be Worse.
Yeah.
So there are some serious Stone Gods treasures on those B-sides.
I just feel like such a novice, you know?
Well, I mean, Don't, because I consider myself a hardcore and I only have the album.
Well, that's what I've got, but I've got all the, Darkness stuff, of course, but
I'm still missing a couple of singles. I think we talked about that when we did the Darkness show. But, if they're doing deluxe box sets, let's hope that they do them sequentially,
Well, do you think that'll happen? Because
they could do the first
obviously the first album sold buku as compared to the rest of the catalog. I'm assuming that with the Darkness, it just kept selling less. I don't know. I haven't looked at any numbers.
I would agree with you there. That's a good assumption. But, they don't necessarily have to go the super deluxe route. They can do simple 2 CD deluxe. Give us all the B-sides, some live stuff, some demos, and call it a one-way ticket to hell and back, and then back again.
At least release all the B-sides on a comp by themselves.
Why do bands not do this? There's very few bands that have released comprehensive. Yes, they give you a good chunk. A lot of bands give you a good chunk of B-sides. No band really gives you a comprehensive, complete collection.
Well, one artist that Todd Evans and I have covered is Matthew Sweet. We did the entire Matthew Sweet series, and he's one of those artists that has tons of soundtrack work. Back in the day when he was on Zoo Entertainment, Scott Byron made sure that they put a lot of bonus tracks on the EPs. I mean, all that is gone nowadays.
Out of print.
That doesn't exist. But back in the 90s, people did that. You put a lot of extra bonus tracks on stuff. Well, hell, look at this. Look at the Darkness in Japan.
Yeah.
All their bonus tracks are on those CDs too.
Yeah.
Somehow here in the States, we get robbed.
And I've mentioned Oasis a couple of times already. They're another band. They gave you minimum 3 unreleased tracks, original unreleased tracks on every single, basically. And they were, in some cases, better than the singles. That was the remarkable thing about that band. But again, the Darkness gave you valuable single B-side material too.
Well, the Darkness, when they were out on that first, I was trying to get those singles as if I could get them.
Yeah.
It wasn't as easy now that, the internet was there.
It just was a lot harder.
So robust that, it was a lot. Discogs didn't exist then. My local record store may have the single in the bins.
Maybe.
So I'd look under the Darkness, and that's how I got them. Like the local store would have, we've got the import. Which, all right.
I remember buying the Christmas EP, but that was relatively easy to find compared to the other singles. That thing was basically everywhere.
Whole other discussion.
Hey, Brendan, love to see the Darkness getting some love.
Well, Brendan, that's what we're trying to do because no one's really talking.
We're trying to share the love, and we've been talking about, this band here, and we've been talking about this band here, and to me, your Darkness collection isn't complete unless you have both of them. And what would be fun, Grant? What? It would be fun taking these and making a killer 10 or 11 track album out of the best tracks from both. That would be fun.
Ernesto says because the Japanese know how to package and market things.
They sure do.
Well, there's something to do. Scott Byron, who was an A&R rep for Zoo, explained it to me. In the United States, you can only have so many tracks.
Yes, for the charting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Japan, it's a different world.
And I think that's why in the UK, something similar. Like Iron Maiden made in Japan. I think anyway, I'm getting myself confused. No,
but I know
that there's different rules.
There's different rules here about in the States.
It charts as a single versus a mini album or yeah.
So you can't load up a lot of these US releases with bonus stuff because I don't know.
And in the 90s, it seems CD singles were much bigger in the UK than at least in Canada. Virtually every artist I had to buy the singles on import from the UK. And a buddy of mine, Trevor, who I worked with at the record store for many years, spent a lot of time in England. And he used to tell me, man, if you walk into a record store in England, if you walk into an HMV in England, they have like a top 40 of CD singles right there at the front of the store. We don't have that in Canada. We never had that in Canada.
Holy crap.
You know, we had to dig for CD singles, and you know, you'd be lucky if you
That's
found
what
the
we
new
had
Def
to do in
Leppard.
the States. Because I was a big Matthew Sweet fan, and I was trying to find same thing. I had to see if they had it in the bin.
I used to
they could
get
have ordered it.
anxiety. I used to get severe anxiety. It's like, my God, you know, Def Leppard have a new single out and I haven't found it yet. If I don't find it soon, it'll disappear. You know, I used to get anxiety about stuff like that.
But back in the day,
that was true.
You might not have ever seen it again.
Grant, there are a few things that I saw back in the day that if I had half the sense I have now, I would have snapped them up, you know?
Well, there's a lot of stuff back in the day that if I had known, okay, I know we're on a tangent, but you know, I don't care.
You know what? It's a useful tangent.
Did you have Camelot Music up in Canada?
No.
Okay. Camelot Music was a chain here in the States. Like Sam Goody, Musicland, like that. The thing with Camelot was like in the 80s and the 90s is that they got a crap ton of cutouts. Now I remember back in the day, if I only would have had if I only had a crystal ball and could see what the future would have brought, they used to have like, I'm going to say like this many of Tommy Shaw, Girls with Guns, and a cutout, or his second solo album is a cutout on A&M.
I spent a lot of time trying to find those.
Yeah, but they're expensive. Well, they're not as expensive as they were because they got reissued.
Yeah.
But back in the day, they were costing an arm and a leg. What a Crosby, Stills and Nash Allies on the Target CD. West German, they'd have a crap load of them.
Yeah.
Cheap. Now that thing goes for an arm and a leg because it's never been re-released.
I'll tell you an anecdote.
Go ahead.
And the record store in which I worked, remember the boss was like, I don't carry CD singles. I don't carry them. Like, why? Oh, they always tank. And then I have to send them back to the distributor and they don't give you, you know, your full cost back. They always tank. CD singles don't sell. And then you're stuck with them. They're stuck with them for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, dude, there are bands out there where people want the CD singles. Nine Inch Nails. People are looking for those singles, man.
Yes.
And he'd be like, well, look, I've got this what was it? Boys to Men. Look at that. I got 3 copies of that single and nobody wants it. And it's true. Boys to Men fans would come into the store and go, this only has 3 songs on it. I don't want that. $11 for 3 songs?
Well,
no,
who would want Boys to Men? But you know,
the kind of thing the boss,
teenage girls at the time.
But that's the kind of thing the boss was ordering on CD single because he'd look at the charts and be like, that's number 1. I better get 3 copies of it in. And then nobody buys it because it's like, why don't I just buy the album? It's a few bucks more and I get 16 songs. But then there's these other bands where it's like, these are treasure. These are treasure. Right. And they're not going to be sitting on the shelves. Once people find out that you have them, they seek them out.
Right.
And, you know, sure enough, when we started working at that record store, we're like, dude, you got to start carrying 9 Inch Nails singles. Every single one that we can order, we have to carry at least 1 copy of each. Oasis, all these other bands.
Yeah.
And, you know,
alternative bands.
The stuff where people were seeking out the full catalogs, because especially a band like 9 Inch Nails, they kind of made it a point. You know, they numbered their CDs, Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3. And if you only had like Halo 2 and Halo 6, you're wondering where do all these things in between? You know, but again, we're on a tangent. The point is,
I don't care.
Physical media, folks. Physical media.
Well, you know, people still want physical media. I think
they do. More than ever.
Book industry is probably faring better than the CD industry, but people want vinyl.
I remember,
but it'll all come around, kids. You listen to my word.
It will come around. I remember early 2000s when Napster was the latest. And I remember a guy came into my store and he goes, yeah, can you look me up in your system? I have a bunch of CDs on order. And I was like, yeah, okay, sure. He's like, cancel them all. And I was like, what? He goes, yep, I got rid of my CD player. I'm like, okay, why? Napster. CDs, you don't need them anymore. See ya.
And right there, you probably went, uh-oh.
Well, I mean, I was not ignorant of the current trends, but I was just like, that guy's an idiot. I was like, dude, you're never going to find your whole CD collection on Napster in great sound quality like you have on CD. Not the whole collection.
I have never changed my whole view on anything since It's always been, I can't just have a download.
Download sounded like crap 20 years ago.
Yeah, they do sound better, but wait a minute. What's her now? You have to go to record stores if you want anything like that, or if you're lucky, a small mom and pop shop.
Gosh, Ernesto, I haven't gone to a record show in 2013 or 14 is the last time I went.
What the hell? Get out there.
Yeah, but you see,
Come on, you know what it's like, the thrill of the hunt.
Should I say this? I have a phobia of crowds. Okay. And I hate that elbow to elbow feeling, But,
I thought you were going to say you were a curmudgeon, but okay.
Oh, I am that too, but that
okay, all right.
But I sometimes I'm like, I just as soon order it online. But Ernesto is right. It is good to get to the record shows because there's stuff there that it's like you wouldn't think to look up online.
You'll go through and you'll go, oh my God.
Jon Snow goes to a lot of record fairs and stuff like that.
He should.
You should see some of his scores, like just crazy promos and
really,
live bootlegs. He's got six Van Halen live DVDs.
He's probably been on your show talking about that stuff.
Yes, recently too.
I don't know. He's the man. Jon Snow. We've been talking Jon Snow up quite a bit tonight. And
contrary to reports, Jon Snow does know lots. That's a Game of Thrones joke. You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Yeah, this is a different Jon Snow.
That's right. Although we do like to tease him about his name because, if I had a famous character named after me, I'd be cool about it too.
Yeah. Well, Mike, I guess we've covered it. We both recommend Hot Leg, and of course we are. We wouldn't have done this damn show if we didn't. Look, here we go.
Yeah.
He knows nothing.
He's heard this joke so many damn times.
He's so modest. But if you're into the darkness, and we hope you are, God, I hate all those CDs.
Oh, sorry. There's one more here. One more.
Okay, share.
We talked about this the last time.
We
Justin
did.
Hawkins sings on this. He sings More Than a Feeling. Yeah.
I know, and I've been looking for that.
Right there.
It's on Discogs, but I would only be buying it for the one track.
Well,
and
Grant,
it's like,
would you? For the Night's Watch, there's another.
Yeah. Hey, Dave, how's it going?
I'll tell you what,
Dave from Ohio.
I'll tell you what, Grant. Usually after one of these shows, you buy something and I buy something. I think I'm going to order one of those Stone God singles. Why don't you consider listening to this?
More. I could get the Stone God single cheaper, probably.
Oh, I better hit that button before you do then.
No, you can have it. I'm not, I'm good. But
yes.
But after all these shows, I get all worked up. So
yeah, no kidding. It's late at night, but I'm going to be hitting that order button pretty soon.
All right. Well, I guess it's 5:53. I've got a show.
You got a show to do.
Well, tonight we're going to look on the Contrarians. We're looking at the Genesis, the Shapes album from 1983, which is just Genesis. So there's a Patreon panel that has been assembled, and we're going to be looking at that. I don't know when that's going to come out. I'm backlogged with editing things. This is why we're doing this live for one, because I don't like to edit.
I like live anyway.
I get more of a rush out of it.
Now, can I tell you what we're up to tomorrow night?
Go ahead.
So tomorrow night on my show, Grab a Stack of Rock, I'm actually not going to be on the show. So you guys win as Harrison and Jax discuss that man right there, Alice Cooper. They're going to be doing their top 5 Alice Cooper tunes or albums. I'm not sure. I'm going to be in the audience watching. I'm excited.
Wow, you're that secure to throw that over to Harrison for that?
I am very secure. Very secure, yes. I can't wait.
Thanks Ernesto. It was a good show. I mean, there's not too many people interested in this, but hopefully we have now documented this. We'll throw it out to the masses. So anybody who, there are people that get turned on to the darkness. Look at the following from Justin Hawkins on YouTube.
And if you don't like the darkness, check this out. If you like metal, check that out. You won't hear much darkness on this, but you will hear a lot of metal.
Yeah. And jellyfish.
A little.
Alcatraz.
And a lot of Alcatraz.
I guess you consider, I don't know, that Disturbing the Peace, what year was that? 83, 82? 85. I've got it on CD, but I don't know if I consider that. It's hard, hard rock. I don't know if it's actually metal. You know, Steve Vai, come on. Is he really metal?
No, but Graham's voice is, I think.
Well, he sounds good on that. And the Stone Gods is very reminiscent of that Alcatraz record in my ears. That's exactly what I heard. Is like, wow, this is like Alcatraz.
Check it out, guys.
Check
We're
it
serious.
out.
We are serious. Check it out.
We are serious.
Jon Snow says so too. He loves them both.
Great show. Love it throughout. There you go. Great show. I love this. Hey, thanks, John. I'll be in contact. We need to get something on the books for August. Come on, let's go. That's right. We did that in 2 weeks. That's right. John was on the Aldo Nova show.
Yes.
With Tim Durling.
Yes, and I'll be on with you
great.
and Tim Durling soon on another show that we haven't announced yet. Give me an R.
Go ahead and announce it, because now I can't keep track of my entire schedule.
I cannot remember the exact date, but Grant, Tim, and I are going to be talking about Helix, a sequel to the one that they did with Martin Popoff. Right. But we're going to be doing the next batch of albums after the first. You guys did the Capitol years, I think, everything up to Wild in the Streets.
But we're doing that Capitol album. What was the Capitol album? Help me.
I think you and I with Tim, we're going to start with over 60 minutes with Helix. We're going to do Back for Another Taste. We're going to do Business Doing Pleasure, and maybe some of the compilations that followed. I'm not sure exactly the span of what we're going to cover, but we will be covering it. Good albums. I'm telling you, good albums.
We'll get that all together.
But you got a show to do, man.
I know. All right, everybody, I want to thank Mike Ladonna for coming on, talking the Darkness.
Thank you.
Spin-off projects, because I love the Darkness. I loved them ever since I heard them. Love all this stuff. Check out Stone Gods. Check out Hot Leg if you can.
Yeah.
I don't know if these are streaming. I'm going to just throw it out there. We highly recommend them. Until next time, I thank everybody for popping into the chat, though we didn't get a lot of people tonight, but I didn't expect we would. But it doesn't matter. It's all about the music.
All about it.
That's what it's about. All right, Mike, we'll talk to you, and we'll see you on the next one. I guess it'll be Helix.
Soon enough. We'll
all
see
right,
you,
man.
Grant.
See
Take care,
ya.
man.
Thanks, everybody.
Ciao.